Hi guys, and welcome to my chaotic garden. Today I thought we would talk about water, the do's and the don'ts. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Deirdre, or Dee. I am a grade art teacher, mother of two, and wife to a wonderful husband. I live in Pinetown, and during the COVID years I got more involved in growing vegetables in the garden, and from there one thing just spiraled into another. My garden grew from one garden bed to more and more and more, and the bug has bitten, and it's bitten hard. I'm by no means a professional by any stretch of the imagination, but I know that I am learning every day as I go along, following other YouTubers and growing and learning from them. There's still so much for me to learn, and sometimes there are questions that people are too afraid to ask. They think, it's a stupid question, so I'm not going to ask it, and then you just never grow and you never learn. So maybe along this journey, as I document my garden and the fun that I'm having in it, I'll be able to answer one or two of those stupid questions for you. So let's talk about water. How many of you grew up or very recently have been watering your gardens like this, with a finger over the tip of the hose pipe so it makes a lovely spray, watering the leaves? Well, I'm going to admit that I did, not in recent years, but growing up and when I first got my own home. That's not really going to help your flowers very much. The leaves are not the part of the plant that drinks up all the water that it needs. The roots are. So you need to water your roots. If you are using just your trusty hose pipe, I have learned recently that it is not a good idea to necessarily cause a spray like this. The reasoning behind it, I understand, is that this causes quite a bit more pressure, so that when you are actually spraying the ground, it is going to cause disbursement of the soil and mess up the ecosystems there, which you don't want to do, because the worms and other bugs and things and bacteria are working really hard below the surface of the soil to provide good healthy nutrients to your plants that are growing. So you just take your hose pipe and you water around the root ball. So you kind of think to yourself where the actual ball of the root is going to be, and make sure that you water all the way around the plant so that all sides of the root ball are getting pretty much as much equal access to the water as possible. Also, it is not the greatest idea to water the leaves of plants, because moisture sitting on the leaves will cause diseases to develop and other sorts of funguses. If you can get yourself one of these contraptions, it is quite a nifty little hose pipe attachment. It has all different settings. So there's a shower setting, a fan setting, a soaker setting, center, cone, jet, mist, a fan, and a fill setting. And you just turn the head like this to whatever setting you want. Mist is nice for when you have seedlings that you just want to coat the top of your soil while the seedlings take. But I find the shower setting is one of the better settings. This has had many days of hard work in the garden. You also get an attachment, Dreams here. It's called a wand, I believe, and it's a long metal pipe that attaches to your hose pipe so that you don't have to bend down all the time, because watering the garden can be a bit backbreaking. So here is the shower setting. It gives a nice gentle kind of rain, and that doesn't cause a lot of soil displacement and allows you to give an even watering around your roots. Okay guys, so on to the best time and the worst time of the day to water your garden. The best time of the day to water your garden is from 5 o'clock until 9 o'clock in the morning. This is because the soil is still cool, the air has not heated up for the rest of the day, and oh, there's a beautiful yellow-billed kite flying past, so low, gorgeous. So the roots are going to still be able to absorb as much of that water as possible. It's going to have the entire day for any leaves to dry out from any water that gets on the leaves, preventing powdery mildew and other such funguses and diseases from developing on the plants. So that is the best time of the day to water your plants. The worst time of the day is midday, and then also towards the early evening. Midday is not such a great idea because it is the heat of the day, so any water that you are placing at the root ball is going to not necessarily be absorbed by the plant, but is going to be evaporated before the plant can actually absorb it. And in the early evenings, whilst the soil has cooled down, so that's not going to be as much of an issue, it is going to create an environment where possibly if water is on your leaves, powdery mildew can develop, other funguses can grow, insects are attracted to that, root rot can happen. So the evenings are not the best time because it doesn't provide enough time for that warmth to absorb the excess moisture. However, having said that, our lives are busy and we are pulled in many directions in life. So again, in my opinion, some water is better than no water. So if you are going to, you can only water your plants in the early evening. For some reason, try not make it a regular thing, but if in 1 week you can only do that, then be extra vigilant about how you're watering, making sure that you're getting the root balls and not the actual leaves of the plants, so that you are providing some protection for them. And if you are doing a top-up watering midday, so you have watered your plants earlier on in the morning, you've given them a nice good soaking, but it's a super hot day, which we get here in South Africa, and you might just want to give them a little bit of a boost. Again, just make sure that you are a little bit more vigilant about how you're doing it, not wetting the leaves, and just being a little bit more protective over the plants that you're watering. Another way to conserve water in your garden is to use a mulch. Mulches keep the moisture in so that you don't have to water as often, and mulches come in many different forms: compost, wood chips, hay, straw, leaves that full of trees you can grind up, and then they become compostable. In my garden pathways at the moment, I've got nutshells, so those can also be used. There's so many different things that you can use as a mulch, and it's definitely a very good idea to conserve the amount of water that you are using. Yeah, make it work for you. Everybody's methods are different and everybody's life circumstances are different, and I've seen people who have watered only overhead and have the most beautiful abundant gardens. So make it work for you. That's all. I think I'm just telling you what I've learned along the way. I do have a funky dunky sprinkler system put in my garden. We had a pipe. My nephew left a pipe here a couple of years ago. I would imagine it's a drip irrigation pipe system. I have tapped little sprinklers into that. I'll show you in a minute. And I do use that. It kind of is overhead watering, particularly on extremely hot days when I'm busy and I just need a little boost to go to the garden. I have a few of those little sprinkler heads that need a bit of troubleshooting because they're not sprinkling so well, but it is nice as a backup. And life goals is to eventually get a drip irrigation system where I can water directly to the roots of all my plants. Wouldn't that be fun? So here is one of my sprinklers that I have put in. It runs, let's see if we can follow it, out the back here, along here, and it taps into this, I think they call it poly tube, and that has got a hose connector over here, and when I want to use it, I just pop my head off my hose pipe, and doing this one-handed is tricky. I pop that in, and then I get overhead watering. As you can see, that needs a little bit of attention. Then I get my overhead watering, which I find fun, particularly with vegetables like lettuce here and my beets. It doesn't seem to, and the kale doesn't seem to have a negative effect on those. There you go, that's a nice big sprinkle there. As you can see, that one is not working. We'll work on that. So this is not ideal, but it was a fairly inexpensive setup. So as I said, I already had that big long black pipe which covers quite a substantial amount of my garden, and these stakes were 10 in a bag for about 150 to 200 rand. So for me that worked out. And it's just nice to have as a backup for when I'm really busy and I can't manage to get into the garden to do an extra watering. Then I can just leave them on, and at least I know that my garden is getting a little bit of tender loving care. No, it does get lots of tender loving care, but you know, water is one of the most important parts of growing your garden, so you do need to make sure that you're watering your garden. Well guys, that's going to do it for today. Thank you for joining me in my chaotic garden. If you have any other information that I may have missed out on, please feel free to leave a comment down below. Also, if you want to learn a little bit more with me as I learn things, don't forget to subscribe and follow my channel. Until next time.